Hi, everybody. Welcome to The New Normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Like Queen Lisa. Today is our Tuesday, Truth Tuesday with Satoshi Sean, and it's New Year's Eve. I was really curious. I was seeing, I mentioned it a little bit yesterday with I Am for I Am. I've been seeing several people calling out Elon, and apparently Satoshi Sean wants to call out Trump. So let's see what he has to say right after this. Happy end of 2023.
2024.
Huh?
It's 2024.
Oh, 2024.
Yeah.
Whatever year it is. Oh my gosh. Do you see?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
That was funny.
About right. That is about right. Thanks, Nana. Happy New Year. Yes. Let's get rid of whatever. Yeah, I noticed he shaved. Doesn't he look nice? He's ready for 2025. Let's do this thing. So I had mentioned, I don't know if you saw us talking about that, but there's been several people that are calling out. So Dr. Shiva, Dr. Shiva, the guy that like invented email, he ran for president.
Yeah, I know you're the invented email guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really brilliant, but he's very angry, typically.
It was also my cousin's dog's name, Shiva.
Shiva, yeah, it's the god or goddess of something. And he was calling out Elon for using the word meritocracy and saying you wouldn't know meritocracy like if it bit you kind of thing. Because if you look at SpaceX, Twitter, Tesla, most likely those are like, big government created entities that were given to him, kind of similar things of like, Bill Gates getting Microsoft or Facebook being given to Zuck, those kind of situations, allegedly. And so he was kind of saying like, calling BS on the whole Elon claiming that, we need meritocracy. And then I saw David Icke calling out Elon, kind of the same thing, around the same kind of ideas. What was David Icke saying? Let me see if I can find it. It was just recent. He was super angry at him. Maybe that was the meritocracy thing. No, I don't think that was it. Here it is. Not with your billionaire mates involved. You don't know the source of tyranny from bureaucrat to technocrat. You know that you're a fake front man, fake genius. Yeah, so he's going after him, kind of the same kind of thing. And then today I saw this nice lady. I don't know that she's famous or anything, but Melissa Hallman said she pulled this up. So there's been a lot of noise about these H1-B visas, and I guess Elon went on this big, support fiery defense of H1-B visas, which are to help foreign workers. And I was like, that doesn't sound very MAGA or America first.
Mm-hmm.
And then they looked into it, and I guess Tesla has replaced a lot of U.S. employees that were laid off. Remember when he came in and I guess that was in Twitter where he laid off a bunch of people. I don't know that he did the same thing in Tesla, but they're saying that he did. He replaced a bunch of employees that were laid off earlier this year with foreign workers holding these H1-B visas. And so I don't know, that kind of concerned me. And I know so I tagged Trump, not that he listens to me or anything. But I was like, that doesn't sound very MAGA. And, Elon's been seen like at the football game with the mask on and all that. And I wonder if this is like, and then, Joe Rogan just tweeted and said, Elon is like, how did he say? Elon's living free rent free in people's heads. And I thought, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's like a great awakening thing. Is it causing people to like start thinking? Is this a way of like, did Trump leave or put Elon in that place? And when I say Trump, I mean like Team Trump, to wake people up and say, like, oh, you think this is a good idea? Well, let's dig deeper. Is it? Is it? Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, Mom. Is Elon part of central casting? And this is causing people to dig deeper. And, stop looking for these people to save you. Elon's going to save you. Even tech people and freedom lovers and, crypto people think Elon's one of us kind of thing. Well, nope, not even him. Even he is like not really, or people think, oh, he's MAGA, he's wearing dark MAGA hat, but then he's loving this H1-B bill because it's efficient. It's good for his company and his bottom line, but it's not America first,
Well,
right?
no, I think it is.
How do you think that is if that's not giving Americans jobs, that's giving foreigners jobs first in America?
No.
Okay, let me know. What are your thoughts?
Here's the thing. So, from what I understand about how, and I think this is how it should work, it's rough, it's hard, but so there's been a brain drain on the United States for a while. And we talk about this on World Watching Roundtable, how so many innovators and companies and jobs are leaving the United States because it's so hard to do anything. Even Bill Maher and a lot of liberals are talking about how people don't want to start anything in California just because it's ridiculous to do anything there. That's, they're going to other states. From what I understand is this allows people to immigrate if they have a special skill. So we're getting the doctors, we're getting the tech people, we're bringing the tech jobs away from India and all those places and bringing them to the United States. So we're not getting the rapists and the gang members. We're getting the cream of the crop and the best people. That is, I think, good for America. And we're giving jobs to Americans. They're just foreign and they're becoming Americans. So it's a path to citizenship, which is right.
Okay.
And good. And if not, then you got to have a lot of money and you got to go through but
so I think path to citizenship for those that have skills and are wanting to come here, stay, work,
right,
and can have something to participate and give.
Something special to offer. Okay. That's the thing. It's like if there's a
interesting.
It's a long story, but my mom gave me this when I got married. I had this ring that I inherited from my grandmother, and it was like her grandmother's, and it was a diamond. It was a big diamond, but you couldn't tell because it was set deep, and it was called a rose cut diamond. Right? I didn't know anything about it. Just so I gave it to my wife, and it's a very unique cut of diamond that it was very old, and the diamond cutters don't know how to do it anymore. So you can't get it cut anymore because it's not taught. So even if they're not tech jobs, but if there was like a jeweler or just some kind places where we're lacking, even if it's manufacturing, if it's artisans, if it's glass blowers, whatever it is that we have a shortage of, to basically, hey man, we'll give you a discount on becoming an American and get you pushed through if you can come here and help. That's basically helping our citizens. How many of our pharmaceuticals are made here?
None, I don't think.
None. So if you are a chemist or if you're a farmer who knows how to grow the weird crops that are used to make these just to those people, all of a sudden you've got a poor farmer who knows how to raise these certain crops in Vietnam, who can now get a path to citizenship and become an American without having, which there's just no way he could have been able to afford it. There's no way he would have been able to do it. And now he can do that. And now we can start making this, whatever medication is now here in the United States and be self-sufficient. So it's the way it should work. It's a better way. But that is the thing that Trump, he turned back, he went back on. Which is why everyone's mad, but I don't think it's really something to be that mad about, because it's better for it's better for the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I like that idea of giving people that are looking for contributing, a pathway, and because I think there is a way of we are in a land of abundance, and there's lots for people to contribute, and when we contribute, then there's more for everyone. So like that all makes sense to me. Makes a lot of sense to me. So,
and that's the way it was supposed to work. Hey, there's this process you have to go through. It's a long process. It's expensive. It's government, so it sucks. It's long and it's expensive. But if we need someone, and you know what I mean, to make to put America first, to make the country better, then we offer them a way in. It doesn't seem, objectively, that seems like it's kind of going along with the plan. And I was supposed to be the one to argue against it and say it was, but
no, I didn't have any agenda. I told you before I got started, I said, like, I'm kind of like one way or the other, because I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm seeing these really great minds like David Icke, Dr. Shiva, and then there was another person that they're really pushing back and saying, like, that basically, and I myself have seen the mask line on Elon. I think Elon is straight from central casting. I think he's being used by the good guys in this psyop war that we're in right now. I don't understand it all, and so I'm just kind of holding it all lightly. So I just have a lot of questions about it, but I do see that it could be, like, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound very America first to me. So I just wanted to unpack it and have a conversation. So that makes a lot of sense.
Happy New Year. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is putting America first, because and that's something.
If we didn't have the handouts for people who weren't working, then we wouldn't have a lot of these issues.
That's another thing.
That's a whole other.
I think when people hear that, make America great again, it's like it's a magic wand. The thing you have to acknowledge is that America's not great. And that's the one thing nobody acknowledges with that statement. You have to admit it's fucked up.
Yeah.
That educational scores are low, that manufacturing is gone, that there's certain things that are not great to make them great. And this is one of the things. When
women can't walk down the street safely, in a decent sized city. Our girls went for our oldest daughter got married recently, and so the girls went for a little bachelorette party, and they went to Dallas. And it used to be women used to love going on a girls trip and go shopping and whatever. They were terrified downtown Dallas, 4 girls, and 2 of them are black belts, and one of them is a blue belt jujitsu, and they were terrified to walk on the street because the homeless people were so aggressive and violent, angry, and whatever. And I'm just like, what's wrong? Like, Dallas used to be so much fun, and you could even go. They were like, we were terrified to go bar hopping, at night. And they told us, only go to a restaurant or a bar and then leave in a car, go straight to your hotel. Like, there was no walking around. There's no like, remember like the deep Ellum thing and all that? Like it was too dangerous. And like America's broke,
It is. It's not. It is changing. Like California's getting better, which is weird.
Oh, really?
Oh, damn! Like they've passed, and it's going to be fought under.
Everything I've seen are those zombie where they're in their like people are sitting there eating dinner and someone's pooping outside the window.
Oh, they're probably Philadelphia, but so a lot of cities have made ordinances, and a lot of counties have made laws where it goes against the state. So there's going to be a battle, but the shoplifting. I've seen so many videos where the police are going in and arresting like a group of like 3 or 4 people, and then they have the dash cams right like in the cars. Like, what the fuck happened? I said, this shit's a felony here, man. What? Yeah. Since when? Last week.
Oh.
Like we can't come to this county anymore. And so because before it was like $1,000, and people would go into the store with a calculator and walk out with $950 worth of stuff, and it was constant.
They've changed it.
They've changed it. They changed in Washington where drugs are not legal anymore.
That's good to hear.
Even though but that I've seen like people get arrested, and they're like, no, we're not going to do that until after January. So they let the people go, or they don't charge them with that. But they charge them with like disorderly conduct and other stuff. But it's weird, like seeing these on smaller levels that people are just fed up, so they're going to their counties and fixing it, and some like large or small cities, they're making actual like city ordinances where it's now a class A misdemeanor or even a felony if you do something that's in like Austin. Austin's the perfect place because it's not illegal to have drugs, to have marijuana, but they won't prosecute you. And then the police like are pissed, so they still arrest you. They still take you down. They fingerprint you, take your picture, and then they release you. And then the next day, the district attorney or city attorney drops all the charges. It's a complete waste of money. It's ridiculous, but that's that's government. But it is things are changing now. It's all across the United States, but those things have to be fixed.
It's good to hear people are showing up at their city council meetings. You are seeing that, and I saw one lady, and she was like, they've changed it, and they're going to come arrest all of you guys, and all that. So
I think it's probably personal. It's a little too personal.
Well, don't share it.
But it's about Missing Crypto.
Oh, don't share it. Personal.
She moved from New York. She lives in a different place. And I grew up in that place, and it was very magical. But it was a different time. And then we're talking about it, and she's like, things were different when I was a kid. She said, but she was really glad to be out of there now. Because this is the first Christmas that she's not there. So I was like, I know it's really different because Christmas in New York is like, it's magical. There's have you ever had roasted chestnuts?
No.
Yeah, see, that's weird to me. But it's a whole different world. And she was like, oh, I don't care. So New York is so evil now. It's such a, like, I don't, well, the last time I was there, it was so long ago. And you were talking about being scared. I don't know what that's like. I've never been scared my whole life. I didn't realize that till I was an adult. and me and my friend got our paychecks. He's this little Puerto Rican guy, and it's when I was a financial advisor. It's like the biggest amount of money I ever had at one time. We got like it was like $1,500, and we went to the check cashing place. We cashed our checks, and I was like, "Dude, look at all this money! Oh my god, we got $1,500!" And I was like, "Oh yeah, $1,500!" And it was in Killeen, and he was so scared when he cashed his check. And I was just like the most excited I've ever been. Like I wanted to scream it from the mountaintop. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Shh, man, what are you doing? Be quiet. What do you put that down?" I'm like, "What?" He was horrified. He's like, "Someone's gonna beat us up and take our money." And I was like, "What? No, they're not." I wasn't, but that's how he lived his life because he was a little guy. And I never had that thought ever into my head. I never had to deal with that my whole life growing up.
Yeah,
Whatever,
you
you know what I
probably
mean?
had his lunch stolen and
Yeah, it was.
little, yeah.
It was just, but to see that was like a really big thing for me. And
But see, that's where like getting rid of money like relieves so much of that. When
yeah,
we get to a point where we can exchange peer to peer, then you get rid of that third party risk. Like that.
when we were going up to New Jersey, and my ex was like, "Oh, I want to go to New York so bad," and I was like, "Why?" She goes, "It's New York. It's so cosmopolitan and it's beautiful and all the culture and it's so rich." And I was like, "Dude, it's gross. It's New York."
It's
I was like,
filthy.
"I don't want to go there." It's like, and
And people are mean.
she had this fantasy, idea of what it was, and I knew what it was. And we're going up there, and we didn't have our second set of twins. We just had the first set, and she was doing the map. Back then we had to use maps, and
In the big book, the
yeah,
Rand
yeah,
McNally.
she's like got it all folded, and she's like, "Go turn here, and then you go through the Holland Tunnel." And I was like, "I go through the Holland Tunnel? I don't think we go that way to get to my aunt's." And she's like, "No." I was like, "I know we don't go through the." And she it was an accident, but in the Holland Tunnel, I'm like, "Wait a minute, this goes to New York." I was like, "This comes out in New York," and we came out 5 o'clock rush hour.
Oh no.
Right into New York in a Suburban, and she was so horrified. And we had the kids, right there, they, in their car seats. She's like rolling the windows up. She's like, "Oh my god!" And this dude walks up, takes his dick out, and starts peeing on the Suburban, and just his bum, and she's screaming, and I had talked about because I the carjacking. I was making fun of someone's car like about carjacking. Like no one ever messed with me in carjacking. I'd kill him. And I was like, if somebody came up to me right now, there's nothing I can do. I can't drive away. I can't do what would I do? And so I was scared of what you're like with the girls in Dallas. I was scared because it was like there was nothing I could do. I was completely out of my element. There was no way I was in control of any part of the situation. I had my kids there. I was worried about. Um, there was a cop. He didn't give a shit. And then we're trying to get the cops like attention. Finally, get his attention, and because they see we're from Texas, and we're like, we're not supposed to be here. It was an accident.
We ain't from around here.
How do we get out of this place? And then he's like, go this way and go over there, and you get that, and you can go back through the tunnel that way. And then he like held traffic up and let us like get over. And she was shell shocked. I was like, "So you want to make a trip into the city with my aunt?" She's like, "No, I never want to go there again. I don't want to go back to New York ever again. That's not culture." She said that was not cultural at all. That is disgusting. Like you said, it's a dirty, gross city. I was like, yeah. Like she hated Houston, and she thought she would love New York. I'm like, no,
Yeah, it's not the same.
it's just a gross big city. But yeah, and that was way back then. And now, what I wanted to get to. So there was a couple of years, like 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember this, but this woman was raped on the subway, and beaten and raped like a hardcore, bad rape. No one helped her. No one. I mean, a full car, and
What?
and like a bunch of people filmed it,
Oh my God.
and nobody had said, "Hey, don't do that." No, nothing. They just watched, and they said it's terrible, it's awful, and then they, the police got the guy, but they went on for like an hour or something.
Oh my God. How is that possible?
And people were like, "Wow, humans are just terrible." And I was like, "That wouldn't happen here. That wouldn't happen in Texas. It wouldn't happen in anywhere." And now you know about that woman they set on fire.
That was very strange, though. Didn't
And
you see
no one did
video
anything.
of that and stuff?
Nobody went to put her out. That cop just walked by. The
But
apathy.
do you think that was real? Because
Yes, absolutely.
she was just
That's
standing there on fire.
if you talk to Misty and Crypto, and just since the rape that happened, and the cops and the interviews with people, and they're just talking about how, oh, it was terrible. He was beating her, and I'm like, you didn't do. There was like 20 people on the subway car, and people just backed up. Like, I mean, when I was growing up, it's like you don't see anything. I didn't see nothing. It was like but it's gotten to a point in New York where that one shop owner, he defended his shop and they arrested him for murder.
Yeah, but there was recently the thing like the Daniel Penny thing. Is that the right name?
Yeah.
Where the Marine, where he restrained that guy and
Yeah.
accidentally killed him. But
No, he restrained the guy. The guy died after the cops got there, but he still got arrested for murder.
he did get arrested for murder, but then he was released or whatever. He wasn't convicted of it. And so then I was like, okay, that is a win because he was protecting all those people from this guy who was trying to harm everyone in that place. So you can't just say all the bad.
But it's a roll of the dice.
It is. There are
What if you got
Daniel
a different?
unfortunately.
No. What if you would have got a different judge? What if something? You know what I mean? And then
I know. It's not all good,
what
but
if
there is some good in the
what
world.
if Kamala would have won? There's just
Thank
so
God
many
she did.
things
Yeah.
that could have changed the outcome of that case.
Yeah.
And but in New York, it's specifically, it's just like people there. The apathy, I think, is and just the evil is just it's off the charts. Like I can't imagine it. And having grown up there, it was always a different place. It was a different place. I remember my grandfather being ultra paranoid, and if he saw a New York plate, he would, like, whatever we're doing, we stop and we're following that guy. They're not there. They're up to no good. And, he's like, no. They're in this neighborhood. They're casing the joints. They're doing something, Sean. We're following this guy until he leaves. And I don't know, but watching that woman and the cop just walking by, the apathy, which is a lot of people
thought it was possibly faked or that they were in on it. Maybe he was like part of the don't touch the statue dummy thing because it's got to burn for a little bit longer for the photo op. I don't know.
No, the person moved. I don't think so. And then now
seemed like
there's
very
so much more
compassion. I don't know how a human could.
There's so much more military in the subway now. New York is turning New York City, and you've got to make that distinction because New York upstate, very different.
Right, the state is different than the city.
It is so government, like literally. There's troops in the street. There's troops under the street, and that's the only thing that can keep people from raping you and setting you on fire, are the army, the military. That's it.
Nana is determined that it was real, so I don't know. I just question everything. So
a sick society because the sanctity of life has been lost, and it's weird. I forget who said it, that apathy is like the most evil thing that there is. I know in Dungeons and Dragons, like people think chaotic evil is the worst, but it's neutral evil because it's evil and you don't care. It's just then that's how like people, a lot more people in general in New York City are now, and it's like it's just it blows my mind, and that's something that like the left they don't understand about guns. People about Second Amendment people.
Mm.
It's like you just want to carry a gun because you're, you know, a bully or something. It's like, no, man, I want to carry a gun because I'm going to put my life at risk to save you. You know, if I was in a store and you are the cashier and a guy pulls a gun out on you and is robbing you, I would try and stop him, and could get shot and killed. You know, it's you're protecting each other as well as yourself, and that's something that people just don't get. You know, it's
Until something like the Daniel Penny situation, where you watch somebody like he didn't have to step in and risk, what he knew he could be facing, endangering himself to protect someone else, but he
yeah,
did, you know, and he protected everyone in there, and then he did face, prison for that, and thankfully he was, absolved. But well, I want to share one other thing that I believe is a Cliff High data point that is very disturbing.
how weird is it now that like everybody knows who he is?
I think it's awesome.
It
I thought
is.
everybody knew who he was before, though. So
Everyone's talking about this guy, Cliff High. He made this software. They're like the beginning of AI. Blah blah blah. Joe Rogan and Trump will be on the Joe Rogan show. This made no sense. It's just that
back in
it just
2009, he
totally,
predicted. Yeah. So Kroger just rolled out what's called surge pricing using facial recognition technology. It will determine the maximum price of goods customers are willing to pay, depending on their facial image of the person buying them. Depending on the image of the person buying the product, they can access our information and dictate the price. They can also use your image to determine how often you buy certain products, and use dynamic pricing in grocery stores, and could resemble the airline industry's ticketing pricing strategies, which apparently the airlines already use that dynamic pricing and the AI on your data. And so they know how much they can charge you specifically so if somebody else books your flight, it may be cheaper than if you book your flight. So this guy kind of talks about it a little bit. But
this means that Kroger has the ability to change the prices of their products depending on the image of the person buying them. Not to mention that most corporations already own a lot of our data. This means that depending on the image of the person buying the product, they could access our information and dictate that price. Can also use our image to determine how often we buy certain products and increase the price of that product. It could lead to discriminatory practices using AI as a scapegoat to charge people of different races, different socioeconomic status, different family sizes, and different dietary restrictions, different prices for the same products that they are buying. And this is the result of an economic system that cannot sustain itself. Capitalism is the pursuit of profit by any means necessary in a finite world. Even if corporations attain new technology to make their operations more efficient, they will always pursue extracting more capital out of consumers.
I know you. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
that
I
is
watched.
interesting. But I am for I am said something a while back, and we shouldn't use the word capitalism anymore. We should use free markets as capitalism. And I used to say to people, especially young people, what you're talking about is called crony capitalism. Crony capitalism is bad, blah blah blah. Capitalism good, but we should throw the baby out with the bathwater and get rid of it. We should just capitalism is bad, and just we need free markets. You know.
We need free markets.
Yeah.
But like this is concerning to me because if it has digital screens, like if you think about Kohl's and whatever, if it has this dynamic the AI looking at your face. So there was a I can't remember what his name is. He's like a it's called like a gray hacker. It's like a good guy hacker or whatever.
A white
And
hat hacker?
it's not a white hat hacker, but he goes out and gets like pedos and stuff. And I
That's a
watched.
white hat hacker.
Is it a white hat
Yeah.
hacker? Okay, I don't know. Anyway, he's like he goes
You're
out and
thinking about Jedis. There's white Jedis, there's Sith, and then there's what's called the gray Jedis.
but he goes out and gets like bad guys, and they have like a whole network and whatever. And so then he has this service where you can pay like $50 a month, and with anybody's face, you can put it in the computer in his system, and you can get all of this data on him. On the you can put their website, you can put their email, and you can find out all your weaknesses or whatever of your website, your emails, all the data leaks, whatever. It's like crazy amount of information. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's like this information is all they have to do is buy his company's software or his program or whatever. And then you know how at Sam's they drive around with that little floor cleaner? They also have a camera to the side where it's scanning your cart and it's scanning your face. There's one also face high. And so they just scan your face, and then when you go to check out, beep beep, oh, your price is this much, you know. It's crazy. Like it's exciting.
It was one of the first things one of the first ICOs I ever got into was that it was called a Face Setter, and it was this like super revolutionary facial recognition. It's still around. It's an Australian company, but one of the things was for retail like that. So you go to Walmart, you go look at this, tan cashmere sweater, and you're like, no, and you walk away. And then you do your shopping, blah blah blah. But the next time you go to Walmart, it sees your face from the store, in the parking lot. It sends you a text. Oh, here's a coupon for this tan cashmere sweater, 25% off. And then because it has a file on you, and I was like, oh, that is cool. That is cool, but it is a little invasive. It is holding your data, but it's just utilizing your public.
You're in the
stuff.
public,
and it's just watching you and using your behaviors to. But it was not about like charging fat people more for Twinkies kind of thing. What the guy was talking about. Yeah. Different prices.
Or what Jim mentioned. He said that his girlfriend said that my dentist, she used to work there, charges based on your appearance, like what kind of shoes you wear, clothes, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, and but see, also our way of thinking is not normal. Because what is normal? Normal is the way most people do something, think something, blah blah blah. Like Vietnam, Asia in general, it's still buyer beware. Ted was telling me the story how like Sebastian, he gets really pissed off because there's two different prices usually when you go into a store, and one of them is written in Vietnamese, and that's for the locals, and it's in English, and it's 3 to 10 times more. And they went out for a foot, and also his uncle is runs like the county, super rich guy. So they go off for a pho. He's like, oh, I'll pay for everyone's pho. And then they give him the bill. He's like, what is this? This is ridiculous. And they're like, no, that's the price. And he's like, I can read the price up there. It says this much. And they're like, no. They didn't know he spoke Vietnamese. And, he was there with Ted Alex, the giant Americans. Mm-hmm. And And so they're arguing. He's arguing. He gets like super because they're ripping him off. He's pissed off. And then he's like, "You're charging me this 2 prices, blah 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 blah." And so they leave. They go back to Uncle's house, and then and then he was just pissed. And his uncle's like, "Oh, who was it? They did what? Okay, come on." So they go down there, and they walk in, and the people are like, and then his uncle walks in behind him, and then they're like, "Oh shit." And they're like, "We're so sorry. Here you go." But that's not illegal. And there's so many things that we consider discriminatory, which 80% of the world is laughing at. It has no, it's
Would it be considered like charging on a sliding scale? Is that how you're looking at it?
No, it's buyer be. It's much worse. It's buyer beware. It's I'm going to get as much as I can out of you, and you've got to try to fight and get it for the best deal. It's totally, it's Wild West. That's just how it is in most.
Willing to pay it, I'm willing to charge it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's if I can get you to pay more, I'm going to get you to pay more. And we're not used to it. We're talking, people want to have their safe spaces, and they're non-confrontational, and it's so it's a different way of thinking, but it is the majority way of thinking. And then but using technology, like, okay, here's a great example of it. I was raised, in different parts of the world. I know how things work. I will haggle. I love to haggle. It's fun. But so when we go to Mexico, like a little street vendor, I'm haggling. A little shop, I'm haggling. But then me and my friends went into this like a chain, like a drugstore, and it's a shiny, it's clean. It's not a little shop. It's a like going into Walgreens.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this really cool shirt, and it said Mexico on it and everything. And I was looking at it. I literally had $1.50 left. We'd spent all my money, and they were getting something, and one of the people was like, "Oh, you want to get this shirt?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just looking at it. It's really cool. I like it, but I can't afford it. I spent all my money. I only have $1.50." She goes, "Oh, okay," because it was like $10. She was like, "Okay, $8." And I was like, "What? You can do that here? Like, this is a big,
yeah, you're thinking
store."
like, no, it's a chain.
Yeah. And then she's like, I said, no. And then I'm embarrassed. I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm not trying to haggle with you. I'm not. I literally only have $1.50 left. So there's no way. No, I don't." She goes, "Oh, okay, $7." And I was like, "Ma'am."
You're like, "No, ma'am, I'm serious."
I'm serious. I said, I'm very sorry.
Uh-huh.
I don't have it. If I had, I would buy it. But it's all I have. And I was like, she goes, "Come on, $7." I said, "I'm not joking. I'm sorry." I walked off, and she said, "Okay, $1.50." That's what I did. So then I obviously
You have to buy the shirt.
I obviously realized I got ripped off everywhere else I was trying to haggle.
Yeah.
Because,
And you're like, wow.
geez. Yeah, so I got the shirt for $1.50. But it's everywhere. You know what I mean? Even, and there's people, like, you can go online. People tell you, if you go to a dollar store, you go to Walmart, you can haggle there. You can ask for different prices, and they can do it. No one would think to do that because that's not part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some people that do that. And then also, I don't know if you know this, but you have to pay 25 cents or to come back into the United States and leave Mexico. And I gave her my $1.50. So at the border, I could not get out of Mexico.
What
because
do you
I
mean?
had money. You have to pay to walk across the border. You have
Who?
the Mexican government. You've got to
I've
pay.
been back and forth. Well, I've flown, but I've never paid.
Yeah, we're walking. You have to pay.
Okay.
So I'm like, "Hey, man, give me a quarter." And all my friends are like, "I don't know, man." was like, "That's not funny, dude. I need 25 cents."
They're like, dance for it, boy.
Yeah, they were like, I said, it's my car parked on the other side. So you guys,
Right.
we're not going back to Padre Island if you don't pay my 25 cents.
That's
But yeah, they had to pay for me.
too funny. Well, let's jump over your channel. I want to hear the naughty thing that Trump did. I got him on the naughty list.
That was the thing. It was the backing down on the.
Oh, you got to tell me over there. You got to tell me over there. Tell me over there.
Okay.
Tell me over there. All right. We'll see you guys over on Satoshi Sean's channel for the second half.
Okay.
And everybody have a very happy new year. I'll see you over on Sean's channel.